see in the crypto market. It's been a very red day today. The only good news about this is we've been preparing for this for days on end. We've liquidated positions. We've gotten out of the way. In fact, we took a different spin, and I've been begging everybody with the gold, silver mining stocks, gold mining stocks. Please pay attention to this sector. And now all of a sudden here you see Fortuna's up another 8.8%. Well, we'll go over all this. First Majestic up over 14.5%. Pan America over 7%. Silver's finally diverting from gold, which is a big sign for a big extended bull market in mining stocks. We've been waiting for this divergence. This would be like the divergence of Ethereum versus Bitcoin if it happened. That's how big this is. But as it is with XRP, Bitcoin, and crypto, and welcome in Crypto Cooter. Thanks for being in town for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Along with Aaron, thank you both so much. Mark Caston, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Rejuvenated has nothing to do with Elon Musk and Trump. The charts were predicting something was going to happen, and now it's going to happen. But I mean, that did happen. There's no doubt about that. But that doesn't have anything to do with. It can be the what do you want to call it? The kind of like pulling the wool over everybody's eyes. But that's not why this is happening. UK Phil, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Yanni, welcome in, says, Tom, you are the best at technical analysis. Well, I don't know if I'm the best, but I do know I put in a lot of time, and I can tell when something's not right. Frankie Fresh, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. I can't believe how well B2 Gold is doing. I know. B2 Gold holding strong again today, but it's up to $3.72. I know Frankie Fresh knows when it was at $2.89 because that's when he rebought or bought in, because that's when I rebought, and said like this one you have to buy and you can't be buying and selling, and you just got to kind of hold it and do what you're going to do. And that's how I feel about mining stocks right now. But anyhow, crypto, Bitcoin's down under 102,000. I do have a short in Bitcoin that's doing rather well. Outside of that, I'm watching this drop. I'm waiting to see if Bitcoin comes down to that inverted head and shoulders area, which I think it's going to, because I think in the short term we were in a head and shoulders pattern, but in the longer term, and I think this 90K area, and I keep having this gut feeling that that's where we're at least going to try to make some kind of inverse right arm. So since I said it, I have a little bit of a short right now on Bitcoin. I opened it at 104,800, so it's up about 41% or 500 and something dollars. I was pretty confident it was going to drop, but we'll see if it continues to pull down. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll just see what happens there. So an XRP had the feeling like it was going to come down and start pushing towards, you know, that $1.98, maybe even down towards that $1.50 fair value gap. I don't know if we're going to go all the way down there. But I do know that we're starting to round these tops, and these M-topping reversals are starting to play out in the downward fashion. That looks to me like a right shoulder has pulled down now in the M-topping reversal on Bitcoin. And it seems like we've got to come down to where I've been drawing this out. Like, I feel like it needs to come down there. The daily's bona fide reversed. The 4-hourly's coming through. We gave away the 200-day. And we even came back up here. And we back tested this in a smaller time frame very quickly, and it just dropped right back through. I mean, well, I don't know if it went all the way back up. I guess it didn't go all the way back up. Nope, it was when it went here. A little bit moves here. But I suspect we're going to get I think we're going to get a spot here where this could just fall out here very quickly. I think maybe come down to 100K, and then we should bounce around a little bit. But at some point, it could just be a free fall. So we'll see what happens. These aren't the easiest days, because what ends up happening is the audience base is strong, you know, through the videos. I've noticed in the lives a lot of people are showing up, which I appreciate that. But we have been getting pretty shadow banned here. And what ends up happening is a lot of people miss out on the updates. A lot of people miss out on what's happening in like the short-term movement. And then, you know, when the market does this, they tend to go away. And now we start to look at it in a way where we're like, you know, we very well could try to find an opportunity as this drop happens and see how far it intensifies, see how this looks like in a weekly time frame setting, because maybe the short term, maybe it was worse than it looked, you know, maybe it's not as bad. But then you start looking at the weekly, and the way this is pulling right now, we've now made a new low in the weekly, which isn't the best. You know, and it's broke that pretty strong. Now, if you go back a couple candles and let's say we get below 99,700 here in this weekly, I mean, this could get ugly quick. And I expect it to get a little ugly because I think it's building an inverse head and shoulders if it's going to continue. And you can't just pull. I mean, I suppose you could pull out, but it's going to be difficult here, I think, to just pull out here. So I expect this drop to continue here. Maybe it'll come up and back test here at some point. I'm not too concerned about pulling profit or anything like that. I just want to see if this plays out. So, oh, I know, Frankie Fresh. It's a crazy thing. No, yeah, they're shutting down a lot of channels, but remember, don't forget about XRPFutureMillionaire.com. That's going to go online here in just a couple of days. And that's going to give me the ability to go live on my own website. I've got a dedicated server that I've already paid for 5 years. I paid for the website for 5 years. And the dedicated server is on. So no matter if there's 1 or a billion people watching, it's lightning speed. Cost me almost $3,000 for that. But I wanted to secure something, and I can go live on that platform. So just you know, pay attention to that, and I'll show you when it's available, but it's not ready yet. A lot of stuff being worked on. Let's see with XRP, though, because we've only had the first drop here, and we'll see, because there's always the possibilities here. We backtest the drop, the initial drop, but this is tough because, like I said yesterday, we were in bona fide no man's land. Like bona fide no man's land. And now we've broken down a very big resistance. I mean, support structure. So, it's getting ugly. This is getting ugly. And if this gets a rejection here now, the next area, I mean, you're talking 198, but I think we could find ourselves down at $1.50. But that's why I keep talking about mining stocks and precious metals, because even when this happens, we've got the upper hand with mining stocks and things like that. We really, really do. I don't know how many people understand that, but there's a lot of money being made with mining stocks. I mean, just literally since a week and a half ago, you're talking about like, I've made substantial gain. I've made like $10,000 in the last almost 10 to 12 days in mining stocks. It's been insane. And they're only going to get better. Let me catch up to everybody, because I fully expect this to bounce around and chop here for a little bit. But this isn't a good sign that it dropped 2.5% in Bitcoin today. This is like that move that I've been expecting. You know, I've just kind of been waiting for this to happen. But this isn't bad. Like, I've been trying to put in my titles too, like, don't fear the drop. You know, this isn't the worst thing in the world. In fact, this is the kind of thing that can happen, and we end up finding ourselves having massive surges after, because we end up coming down, grabbing the liquidity needed for a further push up. So let me just say hi to everybody. There's 88 people here. I've gotten through some of the comments, but there is a lot of stuff going on. The Elon Musk stuff is absolutely true. They parted ways with Trump. He basically told them how he felt, and they basically told him to go to hell, if you want to put it in simpler terms. But I'm not going to go over any of that. We're just going to focus on crypto, and we're not going to give any reasons to get thrown off the air. How about that? Matt Grimes, welcome in. Rick, good evening, or good afternoon, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's, a very trusted mod, which put you in Tom's army, but thanks for being a very trusted mod, Rick, and being here since the beginning. You know this show better than anybody. Arichi Farms, Crypto Cooter, and Hallowed Nation, thank you for being in Tom's army for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. John Bugathorpe, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Yanni, what was the biggest indicator to you that something wasn't right? What made you so sure it would drop? Um, because when we had the rebound, it was going up to a resistance area, and especially for XRP at 265 and Bitcoin at that 111, 112,000 area, the fact that it was bouncing back to those old highs from this little short-term bounce and Bitcoin to all-time highs, and there was no volume. Like, these bounces were happening, and you're talking volume was non-existent. Not just that, the fact that it was doing that at the exact same time that the mining stocks were back testing, when gold and silver was back testing the big breakout potential, and then the bond market was going uncontrollable. I could tell it was the US government doing it. The fact we did not have any kind of real quantitative easing or rate cuts and crypto was going up was a red flag. Between that and the charts, I knew this isn't right, and I kept screaming it. This doesn't feel right. You know, get out of the way. And I even showed me selling DGB at 1 cent and me selling all this other stuff. I won't sell XRP or XRP healthcare. I don't roll that way. I already made $31,000 on XRP in the bull market. I'm not selling my 12 or 13,000 tokens in my wallet. It's not going to happen. So it doesn't matter if this goes to zero. I'm riding those bitches to zero. I've already made up my mind. That's why I bought more than I intended on holding long term. So you can speculate on why I did that, but other than that, everything else is gone besides XRP and XRP healthcare. The only other thing, like, I don't trade Bitcoin, but I mean, I traded it in this instance. Only because I really was confident. I thought we were going to drop. So I have that. I'm not even watching this to sell. If this goes back up and it gets close to my buying position, maybe I would sell out so I don't lose money. But I really want to see this through and see this go down. If it has that potential to 99K and build that inverse head and shoulders. Like, I really do want to see if that pans out. And then the last factor was so many people were so sure that this was the time it was going to go up. And nobody who talks like that ever really considers the gaps that are left. Like, I'm petrified of that fair value gap on XRP at $1.50. You all know this. Petrified. Because why would we leave that on a algorithm-based trading bots who run the show here with the pricing? Why would they leave that $1.81 when it went, or $1.50 when it went all the way down to $1.61 and some change? Like, after from the top, we dropped from the top of this cycle, and this is actually rather alarming to me that it would do this. Like, it really is. Like, this is where it's like, okay, they want you to think that it's had this big correction, but in reality, it's not what it needed. Like, it's great, but now it's just building a wider base. So, after dropping all the way from the top, 52%, you're telling me it couldn't just go down the last 3 fucking percent. Like, that's what I'm saying. It was down 52%. Why didn't it just go down the last 3 fucking percent? Like, look, 52.2% it dropped from the, well, it's a little bit more. 52.5% from the top it dropped. Why couldn't it drop another 3.5% and fill that gap? It doesn't make any sense. The only way it would make sense is if they're trying to trap everybody for exit liquidity, and then it's going to come down there anyhow. But then my fear is that might not be the end of it. Why stop there? We have a gap at all these different spots, but if we want this to hold, it would have been a lot better if that would have held at the time I was talking about. Like, and I was begging it. I said, listen, guys, I know we want this to go up, and it did, and we made money. There's no doubt about it. It bounced from here 58%. Now, the problem is, because it didn't fill that gap, we're probably going to come all the way back down 58% and then some. You feel me? So that's the problem. So, and from here, where it was at, if you do it in the shorter term, it's a lot different than the overall drop. Like, that's a 9% differential, almost. Well, not really, because it was at $1.62. But you see why I'm having all these red flags? Like, when you have all this knowledge and then you're seeing stuff happen, you're like, uh-oh. To the average person, this is great. Even to the modest chartist, this is freaking great. Not to somebody who can see it coming from all directions. And that's not to be big-headed. That's just to say, I always say, I don't watch anybody else, because unless they know what I know, and they see it the way, and they, like, somebody's going to have to watch this every single day of their life to know what I know, and then understand economics, understand the fundamentals, understand just actual setups, and be able to see it in different ways. And the problem is here is I've tried to see it in every way possible for it to go up, and there's no avenue there until we go down. Like, I seen the short-term move. We were out ahead of this. Did we not make a ton of money on MXC and ZBAC? Practically the only two that had massive rallies like this. So it's not like we're not seeing things as well. But the overriding thing is I don't want to be caught up paying the whales to exit. Or I don't want to be caught up while the government's having a pissing match and we're having wars starting. I don't want to be caught up in it. I'd rather be caught up in the mining sector where I know it's risk on and risk off. Same with gold and silver. And knowing that mining stocks are the cheapest way to get the metals out of the ground right now. Look at the divergence on silver right now, up 3.59%, while gold's down 0.5%. That's a bona fide divergence. We're diverting. This is usually what happens in the biggest part of the bull market. If silver's starting to kick into a bull market, oh my God. You haven't seen nothing yet with Fortuna, First Majestic, and Pan America. And B2 Gold's mined its most silver ever to date in this these last 2 calendar years. That's why it's faring better than like Barrick Gold's down today 0.5%. But B2 Gold's up 1.63% because it mines quite a bit of silver now. In fact, I think this was the first time ever that it mined more silver than gold. A lot of gold companies were choosing to leave the gold, and silver miners were choosing to leave the silver in the ground, especially gold miners, until the price appreciated because they thought it was going to go up astronomically in the short term. They made the right decision. They're going to make us all rich if you bought the mining sector because like I've been saying, everybody's paying attention to crypto. And I don't know, maybe by the grace we can get out of this, because to be honest with you, unless you want to go a little bit farther down here, we're going to need some kind of reversal if we want to get out of this. So, I mean, we're running out of time. We're getting towards the end of the week here now. You know, we're getting into no man's land. That's the problem. We're getting into no man's land. And we've been. Let's see. Vado Damas, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year. Sir Smokeslot, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. It says playing with future short stay. Interesting. Nemo, welcome in, says Tom is the best info for crypto strategies. No BS from him. He tell you how it is. All other idiots pump fun and sell you shit. Thanks, Tom, for your honesty. Yeah, I don't like to play those games, so I kind of just do my own thing. So, let's see. Well, because if I play those games, then how am I going to make any money? This is what I do. I like to take advantage of what the market offers. That's all. Thank God for BITUNIX. Yeah, exactly. I wish everybody used BITUNIX so that they could do what we do. Aaron, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's on for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. If Tom was the best info, it wouldn't be Future Millionaire. Oh, you think so? I mean, that's your prerogative. Let's see. That's a pretty shallow way to look at it, but hey, everybody has their own opinion. Let's see. Messi, welcome in. Much liquidity at $1.95. There sure is. A lot of liquidity in that section. A lot of liquidity. Let's see. Matt Grimes, Moon after this. Jacob, like I was saying, a long time ago, Tom copy paste from 2017. That's true. That's true. Matt Grimes, slingshot engaged. Alec, sold my leverage after your tips saved me from a margin call. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's what I like to see. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time getting trapped with all the leverage nonsense, especially with margin. I'm proud of you. And thanks for being in Tom's Arm for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Shane, welcome in, my friend. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What a beautiful day. Joseph, thank you for the $5 donation. Says, hey, Tom, thinking we need Bitcoin to taint crypto to reallocate liquidity for alt season. What's your thoughts? I mean, we need Bitcoin to give some of this away. There's no doubt about that. The one thing that's crazy is the Bitcoin dominance continues to rise. It's continuing to rise. And if I was a bet man, I'd say this might be about to surge up here, not because Bitcoin's about to go up. There's some kind of crash that's happening right now in crypto, and it's pretty interesting what's taking place here, folks. And it's not because we couldn't see it, but it doesn't make it any less interesting. Because the Bitcoin dominance, even though Bitcoin looks like it's getting ready for a little tank job here, Bitcoin dominance looks like it's getting ready. It seems like it could still go up. So it's like it's diverting even higher because altcoins are like, look, Bitcoin is down 2.73%, but it gained 1% in the XRP Bitcoin pairing. You know, that's what I mean. Like in the the Bitcoin to IOTA ratio, Bitcoin actually gained 1.7% compared to IOTA and Algo. You know, you start comparing it to some other ones that have dropped even farther, like against File, 6.3% differential. So it's actually gained 4% to IOTA, 3% to XCN, you know, 2% to AMP. So it's actually gaining. It's gaining on most of these. That's the crazy thing. Told everybody to step out of the way of ZBCN for a little while, just like you should with MXC after this recent run. But look at this head and shoulders. That's the topping reversal. That's the exact same thing Bitcoin's doing. Like, once you start seeing that in the pattern, you can't, you're not supposed to like be like, oh, this isn't happening. No, unfortunately, it's happening. And once it plays down far enough, then you're like, okay, well, now we can make a play on it. But it's happening. We can't pretend we don't see it. Like, we see it there, right? And that's why I was telling everybody yesterday, if this breaks, get out of the way. You don't want to be in this. And you've seen where I took out my short at 104,800 and something, because that's where it finally busted that pattern. I didn't have any faith it was going to stay in there. And even when it went up to 106, I mean, it didn't feel like it was going to do anything. The volume's not there. And the more they talk, the more I realize they're just trying to trap retail. And it's like, how is this possible? How is it possible that they're doing this on such a... It's like they really want to hammer people. They really don't give a fuck about retail. They really, really, really want people to struggle that badly. And it's like I always say, sometimes you just got to pay attention. You've got to do what they're telling you. They're telling us they're trying to trap retail if you just read between the lines. And once you realize that and you see it on the charts, it makes you sick. It makes me sick. Because most people are doing this not to get behind, but to get way ahead. And guess what's ended up happening? This is kind of like taking out a loan with a 75% interest rate for most people now. They're putting money in and they're losing every single day. And then right when they give up, the market goes up 35%. And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't have it for this one day. And then they buy it and then the top drops out and they say, fuck this. And then it's repeat, rinse and repeat. But at a certain point, retail doesn't have the capital. That's what I've been trying to tell everybody. Like, we can't get to the bottom of these cycles with no money. If we get there with no money, what's the point? So sometimes, even me, I love DGB. But even I stepped away at 1 cent and said, you know what? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen right now. And now it's down almost 15%. And like all the rest, it's just not going to happen at the time. It's like I had to admit that to myself. And if it goes up, it goes up. If it proves me wrong, I'm okay with it. And that's sometimes what you got to tell yourself. Like I wanted XDC. Remember I bought it at 7.2, 7.3, 7.4. And then I had to make a decision at 7.2 and I said, I'm out. And I said, I'll see you guys at 4.2, 3.8. And I caught a lot of slack, but now look what's happening. And there's a reason why. It's like I could have bought it all the way down, but do I really want to just keep buying in and buy in at every stage all the way to a 40%, 45% drop? Or because I see the analysis and at least a back test at minimum, why not just sell it and wait for the back test and then save the 40% and have 40% more, or have to spend 40% less to get where I was going to get anyhow? And now that's a big ass bear flag. I mean, we can all see that. That bear flag's going to drop us here. And like the only thing that sucks is like, you know what ends up happening here? I've been having record subscribers, and you know what they keep telling me? Tom, I'm subscribing to your channel because you're honest, but I'm not going to sit here and watch this fall. So I'll see you when we start reversing. No, I love the fact you'll come back in a bull market, but that's the wrong attitude. Stay right now. For all of you that have subscribed, we've had like 4,000 subscribers in the last like 40 days. It's been insane. Don't go away and come back later. When you come back later, it's going to be too late. Stay here now. You've just got a dream scenario because you can watch this in real time with all of us. And we're going to find the right spot. We have the history to prove it. We're going to find the right spot. I promise you that. I'm going to be here every single day. I do this every single day. I've been doing this since March 24th of 2021. I have never missed a day here. Not one single day. Because I know if you miss a day, you're going to miss something. So we're going to keep doing this no matter how bad it gets. And yeah, it sucks. I don't want to see it keep going down. But, you know, if you've been paying attention every single day, like I've been saying, even if it sucks, you know, crypto downwards, blah, 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 blah. Please be aware, strong potential for 15% drop. And then yesterday, stranded in no man's land. Only 800 people watched it because nobody wants to watch anything when it looks like I'm bearish. You know, and that's the reality to drop to $1.50. XRP had dropped to below $2. I mean, this has been going on for weeks. Not because I want to talk like this, but because I don't want to feel like I didn't say everything I could. And if this is the only drop, oh, thank you. You know, that's how I feel. If this is the only drop, thank you. You know, and we don't have to go lower. But at least we were in it at 265, understanding that we're going down, and we've been targeting sub $2. And right now we blew past that 216. Like or 215, we blew past it. So there's a very real chance that the bottom could fall out for a second. And that's what we're trying to see. We blew past that 215, so maybe we'll come back and back test it. But the problem is we went over it as a back test to try to hold, and we failed. See, that's what we have to understand. We already failed it here, came down, went back up, and now we failed it again. We may not go back up there as high, and we might just fall through to like $1.98 and then back test this drop right about here. So that's the caveat here. We might not be going back up there that quickly. That's what I'm trying to say. Like Bitcoin might not be going back up until it gets to that 100K area, if not further. Like this could be one of those let's get ugly kind of days. Now, when it gets closer to the close, that's where I would say if you're shorting, if you're doing stuff like that, maybe it's up to you. You could close the position. Oh, you could close it now if you've already made money. I'm not telling you not to. But when I'm looking at this, like, where is Bitcoin going? I mean, does that look like the topping reversal is done? I think if you're in this now, you're supposed to ride this now at minimum. I would say the next big area is going to be around 100,000, where this wick is at. 100,700 area. But I still think there's a reason we were seeing this. There's a reason we're seeing this. And it's got a ways to go still. If this is going to play out true, this has unfortunately got a little bit of ways to go. And the crazy thing is Bitcoin's gaining steam against the alt tokens, which is insane. Bitcoin's down $3,200 plus today, better than 3% on the day. And it's gained 1.24% on XRP. You know, isn't that pretty crazy when you start looking at the things like that? Louisville, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. The Gatman, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hand Badge. XRP Healthcare is making big moves that might pass XRP in price. I mean, in time, it probably will, by virtue of token holdings. But look at XRP. Look at the futures. The futures are getting absolutely destroyed right now. We got to be careful here. XRP could slip under 210 here in the next couple minutes if we're not careful. Man, oh man, this is getting nuts. Mark Caston, 21 shares ETP went live today. Interesting. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Sir Smoke Slot said could be altcoin liquidity centralizing the Bitcoin for a run and alt season one that capital Bitcoin back to alt. You never know. Let me do the intro real quick and I'll continue saying hi to everybody. Good evening. 4:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, June 5th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. And I reside in the great state of Michigan. I don't think I did an intro yet, so I figured I would do it. James Dula, welcome back into Tom's Army for another month. Over 3 months now with the XRP Meteor. Very much appreciate that, Mr. Dula. Crypto Cooter Tom, I measured the 15% drop on Bitcoin. Same drop on file would land double bottom at 209 if that holds. Oh, that would be fantastic. That's one of my go-to targets in this drop. That and data. If data can get to 0.008. Let's see. B is distractions, absolutely. Crypto Scrooge, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 4 years with the XRP Phoenix badge. It's going pretty good, my friend. Today is a day I can't complain. My son's doing good. He's happy. And with all the stuff he deals with, a good day is a great day. Jorge, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor and also being a very trusted mod. Aaron, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor along with Defined Group. Aaron says future money is made watching the red days. You better believe it. You better believe it. These are the most prosperous days you can find. It really is, at least for me. These are the days when everything comes together. It's true. You know, it's kind of creepy watching myself as I've been losing weight because my face is so much skinnier on there. Maybe I'm just talking, but does my face look skinnier to everybody these days? Because it looks a lot, I feel weird looking at myself. But I am at the lowest I've ever weighed at 174.4. And the most muscle I've ever had, so something's happening. The body's old, switching. Feels like a buy now. Oh, no, no, no. Absolutely not. At least not to me right now. Because we haven't finished this drop. Chris Burns need to make one video for the Moon Boys and another video for one looking for buying cheap prices. Interesting. Tom, did you see Elon's tweet about Trump and the Epstein files? No, I don't want to get into that because I don't want to give a chance to get banned in these trying times. So I'm going to stick to crypto, but I did see it. But on my website, we'll be able to talk about everything when it comes together. Oh, there's XRP losing 2 ton like we thought might happen. CJ2 Pilot, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year. The Cannabis Podcast, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XP Meteor. And if you guys appreciate my work, consider joining Tom's Army. We've been well out ahead of this. If you want to show support, if you appreciate the fact that I put so much time into this, join Tom's Army. I know we're red, but at least you were able to get out of the way. I didn't lie. I don't, you know, I tell you the truth. I tell you the truth. Juan's Way, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. It will be up in time for end of month so Ripple can bend XRP holders. Absolutely be. I mean, I talked about this before the month even started. I've been trying so hard to warn everybody about this drop that was coming. And I know it's hard when a lot of other people or a lot of other entities or a lot of people on the TV are telling you this can only go up. But I mean, come on. Did I not say it could happen and it could get ugly quick? This is the worst for me too, though. This is the worst because I'm trying to build an audience on crypto and precious metals and stuff. But when it's red, that's what I'm trying to say. When it's red, it's not as prosperous. Yeah, sure, we could be making money, but it's not prosperous for my channel. The only difference is now there's 119 people here when it's crashing. Last year, there would have been 45. You know, but we've gained 20,000 subscribers. So now at least some of you are still sticking around even in these red days. It's been spectacular to see how many of you are actually watching. To have over 100 people watching right now is crazy. To me, it's spectacular. Mario Louise Willamese, welcome in and thank you so much for continuing to watch my content. Even in these trying times, it means the world to me. Let's see. Burn everything, welcome in. Love it. Timothy Perez, do you feel we'll get an alt season in 2025, Tom? Yes, at some point, but I think we're going through the motions right now, unfortunately. And like, if I'm looking at Bitcoin, honestly, how far do I think this drops? Like, could we get a stop at 100,767? Possibly. Do I think we're going to have to get some kind of back test? Yes. Yes, I do. I'm glad you asked. But look how quick. That's a big candle still in the 2 hourly. So We've got an hour and 37 minutes, and it seems like that's pushing hard down. 30-minute is going nuts to the downside. So in the short term, I mean, are we going to get a back test up here? We should, and which is why I'm close to probably closing out those shorts, because we should get some kind of back test. And honestly, it's done everything that I wanted it to do today. But I would like to ride it all the way down. I just know we're going to get a back test here, and we should back test here. And the likelihood is I may even be able to get that position back at the exact price I paid. So watching that volatility, I think it's done everything I needed it to do in that regard. I'm in the live. I don't want to keep paying attention to it. So I'm going to close it at a 50% gain. So just so I don't have to pay attention to it. So that made $654 approximately. So I'm happy with that. And that's just, I mean, that's just, I'm not going to get greedy there, but I am going to probably look at it again to open up if it goes back up and back test that properly. Because after a big drop like that, I am always hesitant now being in a position like that, because I know there's going to have to be some kind of back test. So, you know, kind of judge not just my work on, oh, he can pick a position at the good time, but understanding where, you know, things might happen as well. Backbone Society, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. And normally you guys wouldn't see that short, but I've been more open to my audience, and you see that was not just a $50 short. You know, I was pretty confident in that position. Hold on, I gotta pause this so I can make sure nobody sees my info if I show you something. Okay, yeah, I wanted to make sure you guys wouldn't be able to see my information, like my personal information, to where you could hack me. But that's where I opened it. 104,894 it canceled, and then I redid it at 104,788. Average price was 104,800. And it ended up making 661, but that's not the point. The point is that's what I was just showing, so that you actually know what you're seeing. But I don't encourage people to do that. That was not something so that I could ride it for 100%, but I wanted to ride it down. My goal was 100,700, as I said at the start of the show. It got close enough, so now we're just splitting hairs. So, you know, it's just something that I like to do. No, I wasn't trying to get rid of you guys. I just didn't want to, I wanted to make sure my information was safe. Jay Freemax, welcome in. Chris Burns, good evening. Had an order at $1.97 for weeks now. Excellent. Will DGB hit 0.005? It's a hell of a question. We'll take a look at DGB. Julie, do me a favor. What? Thank you. I closed the other short on Bitcoin that I had. Yeah, I had another short because I have $300 that was left on HOTCOIN, and it's been sitting there forever. So I put an 80x short on Bitcoin, and it made like $657. So I'm very happy. I'm gonna try to build that account up just through their shitty futures. Oh my god. And after using that and seeing the fee, once again I go, oh, thank you, BITUNIX, because I had to pay a lot more on that than I did on BITUNIX side. So anyhow, glad everybody's here watching this. Hopefully now, if you're asking me what Bitcoin's doing now that it dropped, this could be the spot where we get the back test up here. It really could be. So now it very well could follow back through and not have a farther, but we're going to have to test the drop at some point, you would think. And now because of the measurement out of here, we fell out of this first movement. You know, we had that active area. And I mean, it filled that. So I did everything I needed to do on that short. I'm not greedy. I filled it out the space of the move. And then I let it ride. You know, and I didn't sell it in the beginning of the live when it was at 102,300 or whatever. I let it take that last drop. Now, if it goes farther, it goes farther. But that was my intention when I bought it. Now the intention would be if we get rejected to do it again. Tom, did you get a strike because of your guns? Laugh out loud. Hey, you never know. They could have been using it as an excuse that they were going back to the video in 2020. The video was from February of 24, which is kind of funny. Tom, when it back tested, do you gauge when to make another move? Absolutely. So if it goes up with no volume, and it's all, does it seem like almost like we predicted the market? Like, hey, he sold the short, now the market has to go back up because he said it was going to. Did I not call it at the... Well, if this happens to play out like this, I called it at the exact spot to sell that short. But no, I would be looking at volume in the 30-minute and see if any kind of spike happens. And then if it does work its way back up here to, let's say, 104,400 area, you know, that would be something I'd be looking at. Now, the other thing I'd be looking at is, are we creating some kind of broadening wedge? That's what my gut says, which means that, again, if that's what's happening, if that was some kind of broadening wedge being formed, you only need two hits on a broadening wedge, right? And then if it breaks down, then we would go to that exact target by virtue of the measurement. But then if it is a broadening wedge, you could technically get a volatile back test, and it may not come all the way back up, but you've already had multiple hits here. So technically you could say, maybe not a broadening wedge, but some kind of wedge forming, you know, something like that. So then you can kind of see, well, if it breaks down from this now, so now you can even come all the way down here and be at 98K and still be within this. But if it breaks this, then you know you're in trouble. Then you got no choice but to come down some ways. So, I mean, you could look at it like that. I got no problem with that. But at least for the time being, I would keep it like this because that was the setup before it broke down. And then you see if we get a back test here. Some kind of back test. Let's see, in the 15. Nothing major. 5. Nothing major still. Now it's showing a small sign of a reversal in the 5-minute, but who knows if that plays out. So that's just the way that I look at this. So, you know, don't be greedy. Cannabis Podcast says the crypto hawk started to talk about Digibyte now. I'm not surprised. I've talked about it enough to where other people see it now. My channel's big enough to where they can actually see it. Having 43,000 of you makes it to where at least I pop up a little quicker now. It's just when YouTube chooses to show my stuff. That's why I encourage you to be part of the Telegram. Please. Now, mind you, everybody, this could be just the beginning of this drop, and we might not even back test. So that's always a possibility here, ladies and gentlemen. That is always a possibility, my friends. ZBCN, somebody asked, could this be the bottom? No. I mean, it could be, but that pattern's not complete, and I have a back test of a fair value gap that was left at 0022. So remember how I said at 0014 we had to be patient for that hit before we bought in to buy back? And look what happened. We were patient. It went from 0021 and we had to wait. And that was the short time. Remember, it bounced up and we thought we missed it, then it came down, but we were patient. We didn't even take the fake out. Same thing here. I think it probably needs to come to 0022. I mean, we never tested that. We never tested it. It's actually a little bit lower, but I'm giving it a little bit of grace, but we never retested this area. So, and some could say, well, Tom, we came all the way back to pretty close here on this move. Yeah, but that's still 8.6% gap. That's not close enough to me. Not to me. Hey, Tom, I'm in Cali, and I saw something that the California state will confiscate Bitcoin accounts that have been on exchanges older than 3 years back. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, Aaron, can I explain the short I did on Bitcoin? Yeah. So I opened up a short on Bitcoin. I mean, you guys seen me close it. That's the only reason you probably even know about it, because I accidentally pulled it up. But I had a short on Bitcoin. And all I did, I opened it at 104,800 was my average price. I had a 15x short. It was I had 0.1883 Bitcoin. So you can do the math, 0.1883. It was about $1,300 and something dollars, but it was at 15x. And I closed it at 102,290. And I did a market close because you guys seen that it was at 101,300 and something. But even though it showed that price when the market closed, somebody was selling it at that price. That's what I was trying to show. Like, even though the market showed, it went down right after I sold it or in the process of. So it didn't give me the 101,330. Even though I did a market order, BITUNIX was still cool. And you see the price it gave me. So even when you do a market order on BITUNIX, it's not trying to screw you over. Look how cheap it gave me on that sale on a 15x. So isn't that something when you start to actually pay attention to certain things like that? So that's what that short was. I opened it, and I only did it because I had it measured out for Bitcoin on a drop. I thought it was going to happen. I didn't know if we were going to come down below 100,400 or not, or this measured move. But I think we're going to come possibly all the way down to 90K. But this part of the move on a 15X and how much money I had in it, I measured it from here in the drop point. So I wanted to ride it to the drop point. Now, I could have kept it, but I've been burned a lot of times trying to overhold something and not actually having a back test. But that's why it dropped out of there and I actually went for it when it happened. It's actually a little bit off here because it should... No, it was pretty close. But yeah, that's what that was all about. That's what that was all about. Now we're waiting to see if Bitcoin follows through here, which I have a very strong suspicion that we could just fall right through without having a big back test. So that's what I want to see here. Because we're already down $3,500 on the day on Bitcoin. And this could get ugly. Like, this could get ugly. We're sitting here. We're being honest with each other. This could get ugly, folks. Like, what do you expect here? Do you expect Bitcoin to fall through here? Do you think we're going to hold that 100 and what is that? 110,660 area? Do you think this drop point holds now? Like, what are we thinking here? Are we going to have a back test? Or is this just going to fall right through? Please drive safe, Michaela. We'll see you when you get back. That's where we're at right now. We're in a very big predicament here, folks. We are in a predicament. Ethereum's down 5.9%. Look at it starting to fall through now, folks. We could have a fall through now. The only thing is Bitcoin's kind of looking to back test, maybe. I don't know. This is getting weird. Because Bitcoin's showing strength compared to a lot. It's even outperforming Ethereum right now, which is ridiculous. But yeah, remember the key for Ethereum? The breakdown and not being able to hold the break back into the rising wedge. And now look. Remember what we drew out? If Ethereum doesn't hold this formation, you could be looking at a drop down to something like that at minimum. And now it's starting to happen. I mean, I tried to draw all this out so that we could look at every angle. And the reason it didn't seem right here is because we kept getting rejected at what we seen as a breakout of the or breakdown of the rising wedge. And now we come right up there and it's getting rejected, 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 rejected. It's insane. Rejected after rejected after rejected after rejected. But I still think we have to have a back test here, so I'm not a fool. I know at some point someone's about to get trapped here because they're going to get the urge to go short, and then it's going to go for that back test. So make sure if you're short in the market, long in the market, you're doing it at a spot where you feel real good about it. I'd hate for you to do something just because the market looks red right now, and then all of a sudden some green comes in, or you come in and you say, oh, it's going to go green, and then some more red comes in. Sometimes the best decision is to go with your gut and just let it play out. Would you buy again without a back test, and if so, when? What do you mean? Yanni, buy another short? If you're asking about a short, hell no. No, no, no. I mean, you could. You could, but I did everything I wanted. I bought and sold in the safe zone. Like, I bought and sold the formation breakdown, knowing that it could go all the way to 90K, but also knowing that there should be a bounce back, as maybe this as low as it could go is 100,600 if it's going to have a bounce back. But it could fall right through. That's what I've been trying. So I don't know. For me, I'm good. I made $1,300 between the two shorts that I had on Bitcoin. And I'm good. I'm not greedy. I am not good. But no, I wouldn't do another short right now. Not now, if you already have one open, you can watch it ride out. Tom, can you read my don't know above? Tom, can you give me a possible entry for GRT and ACH? Love you, Tom. Only you were warned in Telegram of this drop, so if you haven't joined, do it. In the Telegram and the lives and the updates. Excuse me. Yep. GRT and ACH, because I'm gonna have to go here soon too, because it's getting late. And I got dinner. We're doing Julie the salmon's already in? No, not yet. Oh, not yet? Okay. I'm preheating, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's preheating. ACH entry. And I'll tell you ACH when I enter as well, James. But my fear is that these are about to fall out of these patterns. Now, if it holds this pattern, which it looks like it broke below already. But if it were to hold, this would have been an area possibly at 0.2. But it's fallen below that already. So if this falls out, man, it's going to get very interesting for ACH, because we're going to fall out of this all-time pattern if this actually played out, but this isn't accurately measured. That's why. It's still within it. But I would say, if I'm looking at this 100%, and I will be in a sec, I would say right here, James, somewhere around 0.17, we're going to have to watch it. If it holds that 0.17, that should be the bottom. But if it falls past there, because that's about 15 to 17%, we shouldn't fall past there with the way the setup is. If it falls past there, I don't know, because in a sense, we're not technically in discovery, but we would have broke down out of this long-term pattern that has been going on since 2021. So I don't know. I'm aiming for that 0.17. 0.17, James, on ACH. GRT, which I believe is hash graph, or the hash graph, or whatever, or the graph, I mean. However the fuck they say it. I'm a fan of it, actually, to be honest with you. So I do know a lot about it. 8.7 cents right now. Wow. And I have a chart drawn out for this. It's a very similar pattern as ACH, ironically. Oops. That's the all-time wick, so we're going to come back here. So this is what GRT is right now, James. So if you're looking at this, let me get rid of this to get out of the way. You'd be looking at a hold around 6.8 cents. Otherwise, this is going to get ugly. So, I mean, you're talking 15, 20% on both of these. You're looking for them to drop down before you're starting to get interested. If I'm being honest, let me put this on here just so I don't forget. So that's what I'd be looking at, not on this, not here. That's on my emerging markets mutual funds. There we go. So we'll pay attention to these. We'll pay attention to these. I'm going to put that next to ACH. Put this below it. Quant needs to be on the bottom with Theta, Magic, MXC. MXC goes by ZBCN, but they come down here. There's a rhyme and reason for everything I do. Alright. XCN needs to come down here by That's fine. Okay. But we're definitely coming down hard right now. Oh boy. Could we just come to the next layer right now? We very well could. Look at Ethereum. It's down 7%. But yeah, just I hope you guys heeded these warnings. I hope you've seen stuff that helps. I mean, if the next layer that could hold Bitcoin, if you're looking for it in the short term, I mean, we're close to it. But this could very well just keep going without any kind of real back test. It's getting ugly. So if this continues and just goes, you know, it could just smack us. I mean, we're not unprepared, but it doesn't mean it's not a smack nonetheless. The thing that's bothering me right now is Bitcoin is up 0.6% in the Bitcoin dominance. Like, even when Bitcoin's down 3.7% on the day, we can't get away from the Bitcoin dominance gaining steam. Like, it's unbelievable. Isn't that crazy to all of you that Bitcoin dominance continues to pick up steam? It's crazy. Like, are we ever going to get a drop in Bitcoin dominance? Nah, I wouldn't buy right now. I would just let this drop play out. Like, guys, we should get a back test at some point. So yeah, we're probably going to get a volatile back test of this drop. But the way this is looking, if you play this right, you're probably going to get another chance, you know, at an even better deal here. So I wouldn't let your emotions get to anything crazy. XRP fell below that 215, and I've been saying once it falls below that, it gets ugly. And now, yes, after the flip of the clock, I could certainly see the market surging for a back test. That's what I'm trying to say. So there might be an opportunity. There might be an opportunity. So, you never know. I'm just saying, pay attention if you're trying to short this right now, because there's got to be a back test at some point. At this point, in my opinion, you missed the short. And right now, it's a very big risk because we haven't had a back test. And yes, you might gain 150% right now, 500% shorting from here. But good fundamentals have you shorting it before this 5 and 7% drop, before Bitcoin's down 3.5%. So you don't have to get caught up in a possibility where Bitcoin goes back up here to that 104K. So I might teach you good fundamentals before the drop, but I'm also going to try to teach you good fundamentals in real time. So have a blessed evening, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I got to go help out around the house. Who knows? Maybe I'll be back later. Maybe I'll do an update. But I'm glad we're able to do a live right now. But I'm going to go help Julie. Thank you all so much. Have a blessed evening. And please join BITUNIX. Pay attention. Get into the Telegram. Go onto my homepage. BITUNIX is in the pinned comments of this very live. But join the Telegram. Soon you're going to see on here a way to join XRPFutureMillionaire.com. Which if you go to it, it says it's under I don't even know what it says right now. But it's like under, what does it say? XRP. Oh, okay. So you can at least see what it's starting. So it's almost in place now. There's a lot. You can go here and see the live charts now on my actual website. It's just not fully inundated yet. It's got a whole bunch of stuff, some question and answers about what I do. So go to XRPFutureMillionaire.com. Soon there's going to be a section so I can go live. It's not 100% done yet, but it's starting to get there. So a live XRP chart. It'll show the XRP market cap. You can go to a whole bunch of different things. It's going to be innovative. And it's being built right now as we speak, but you're seeing it in real time now. So it'll be nice. It'll be nice. And I've got other blockchains that I like. I've got other things that I use. Like we got Stellar. You've got a whole bunch of different blockchains. Digi, HBAR, Algorand. You can see all of them up here. A lot of different ones. Oh, I can't wait until this is completely done. It starts in 2 days, 4 hours. So that's when the website starts. So we're 2 days, 4 hours, and 7 minutes away. But now you're starting to see it as it's starting to come into real time. It's going to have the in real time scrolling of pricing going across it. So yeah, it's been a lot of stuff being put into this. A way to join BITUNIX right off the front page. I mean, there's ways to join other exchanges too on here, but BITUNIX is the one that I want people to actually use. Way to join Tom's Army. There's so much stuff on here. My recent videos. So just a lot of stuff. Hopefully you guys end up enjoying that. But yeah, so if anything happens, you'll be able to find me on my website. If YouTube, for whatever reason, bans me, it's not ready yet, FYI. This isn't everything you're going to see. This is being updated in real time. But there'll be a way for me to do lives on here as well. So we're not going to be bound to just YouTube if something happens. So I think it's going to... I think it should be something special. Oh, yeah, XRP and everything should go back up right now. We need to have a back test. I didn't close that short for no reason. Although it could just keep cooking to the downside, but I think we need to have a back test probably here. So just pay attention. I'll see everybody in the Telegram. I'll try to answer questions. But Julie's starting to do this. I want to help her. So have a blessed evening, everybody. Thanks for spending an hour.